In today's video, we talk about the evolution of slavery and how economic systems have replaced physical chains with financial chains. We break down how modern capitalism, debt, and systemic inequality continue to keep the masses, especially black communities, in a cycle of struggle and dependence. From banking to media, education to incarceration, we explore how the same tools of control have been reshaped to serve the elite while keeping others in modern day bondage. And when I say others, I mean you and I. Let's get to watch the video together, and after that I'll meet you once again for my commentary. As you know, I am your host Kachina, and if you are watching this channel for the first time, please consider subscribing to this channel, and if at all you find this video interesting, or if at all the message will resonate with you, then please give this video a thumbs up.
I'm here to talk to you about the problem of slavery. It didn't end in the 1860s. It's a social malady that's with us today, and it's increasing in its scope and virulence. The desire to enslave our fellow man is unfortunately intrinsic to the human character. It has been with us since the beginning of time, on every continent and in virtually every culture, from ancient Egypt to Babylon to Greece and Rome, Africa, Asia, Europe, and the United States. Germany and Japan openly practiced widespread slavery only 50 years ago, and the Soviet Union until less than a decade ago. China even today. It's a disease of our human nature, and yet people are under the impression that it no longer exists. I say to you that in a subtle form it exists in America today, and it's becoming less subtle and more manifest. Madison Avenue has just cleaned it up a little bit, dressed it up in new words. The slave master is now Big Brother, someone to protect you, someone to confide in. But it's all the same. He owns your life. Now, this may sound far-fetched, but I think I can prove it. When the IRS allows you a tax deduction, they and their congressional collaborators and the media call it a tax subsidy. In other words, they designate it as a gift to you, a subsidy. The only way they could conceive this terminology is by presupposing that they, i.e. the government, own all the money. Their view is that they're entitled to it all. That which they allow you to keep is their compassionate and generous gift to you. How can this be? You create the money by your efforts, your sacrifice, your creativity, your risk-taking. So how can it belong to them? It's very simple. They own you. They own everything you produce, your money, your house, your thoughts and ideas, your children. If you go to a foreign country to work, you still have to pay the U.S. income tax. You could dig a hole in the middle of Siberia and they'd be entitled to a cut of your wages because in their minds, under their law, they own you. They create arcane and esoteric laws to criminalize you. You may try, but you can't obey them. You can't even understand them without a lot of professional help. You have to run around slavishly collecting little pieces of paper, receipts, 7 years of detailed financial records because you might be called on to give an account of yourself to the big boss man. And if you've made a mistake, he can take everything you have. He loves it that way. That's total power over you, slavery. I don't remember when we, the people, signed over ownership of ourselves. It just gradually happened by them taking more and more of our freedom. But here's the worst part. It's really only just begun. In this modern age, the information age, getting your money is not enough, even though money, don't let anyone deceive you, is the material source of your freedom. Now, however, they want your mind. If you deviate in your thinking, if you commit one of the 10,000 taboos, and they perceive your actions as a threat, they'll come out and kill you. It was the thought police who killed the children at Waco and Ruby Ridge. Neither David Koresh nor Randy Weaver, whatever things might be said about them, had ever mugged anyone, robbed a 7-Eleven, or committed forcible rape or murder. But they did have unorthodox views, and therefore it was necessary to round them up and deal with them. Whatever their crimes were, they could have been arrested and tried openly in a court of law. But that was not the aim of certain factions in the government. These statists wanted a massive demonstration of force to show who was boss. The penalty for resisting is death. After all, we're not free. We belong to the government, and deviant thoughts will not be tolerated. In the aftermath of the horrible Oklahoma City bombing, government propagandists tried to intimidate the people into silence by recklessly linking criticism of the government to acts of murder. Some people ask, how can you fear your government and claim to love your country? Our response is, how can you love your country without fearing your government? Who else holds a counterfeit license to kill, incarcerate, and confiscate for non-crimes? Remember, America is about liberty first and last, not obedience to bureaucrats. The Washington power clique wants you to shut up, get in line, do what you're told to do, and most outrageously, think what you've been told to think. We have hundreds of politicians and thousands of lobbyists crawling all over Washington, thinking of ways to control you, to extend their will over you, to subvert your freedom and replace it with their will, to capture, that is, to steal your life force. And so we should all be very angry, because anger is the engine that drives our will to resist. And without resistance, without awareness, they will take it all. That's not just politically perverse, it's a sin against mankind, because freedom is actually sacred. Drop an ant into a jar and seal the lid. It will spend the rest of its life trying to get out. It has nowhere to go, but it wants to be free. That is its nature. It's the way every living thing is made. Once, a long time ago, I saw something at the zoo, a wolf lying in its cage. I thought about how this magnificent animal was the end product of millions of years of evolutionary design. A nose that could detect the faintest scent, ultrasonic hearing, eyes that could see in the dark, teeth and jaws capable of crushing thick bone, heart and lungs that could run him for hours in a sub-zero blizzard. And yet there he was, lying forlorn and full of despair. He was well fed. He had a clean habitat and water and medical care. So what was the problem? He was sick with the knowledge that his wonderful powers would never be exercised again. And so he lay there, his head on his paws, staring blankly ahead at perhaps some imaginary forest that he could never reach because there were bars around him. They had not killed his body, but they were destroying his soul. God gave Adam and Eve freedom, even though he knew they would invite death into the world. That's how important freedom is in the divine scheme of things. And that's why we urge you to defend it, always.
It's at the same time a slush fund for Elon Musk and Donald Trump to continue their war against the working families of our country. This bill puts more and more power into the hands of the White House. At a time when 60% of our people are living paycheck to paycheck and millions are struggling to keep their heads above water, this bill makes massive cuts to housing, health care, and nutrition, jeopardizes the functioning of the Social Security Administration, and continues the Trump administration's attack against veterans and the Veterans Administration. This bill will make the rich richer and the poor poorer. In order to pass this legislation, the Republicans needed 60 votes, which meant that they had to have 7 votes from Democrats, and they got them. Actually, they got 10 votes. That is sad. That is an absolute dereliction of duty on the part of the Democratic leadership. Nobody in this Senate should have voted for this dangerous bill. In America today, as all of you know, we face an unprecedented set of crises. We are moving rapidly toward an oligarchic form of society where Elon Musk and other billionaires are running the government. We are moving rapidly toward authoritarianism, where Trump is ignoring the Constitution and the separation of powers. We are moving rapidly toward a massive Republican bill, a reconciliation bill, that will cut Medicaid and other programs desperately needed by working families in order to provide the 1% with over $1 trillion in tax breaks. And in the midst of all of that, climate change, the existential threat to our planet, is completely ignored by the Republican leadership. So, where do we go from here? As you've heard me say many times, the economic and political crises facing our country will not be solved here in Washington, D.C. The system is just too corrupt. As a result of Citizens United, billionaires are able to spend unlimited sums of money buying and selling politicians, and that is what they do. Further, on any given day, thousands of corporate lobbyists roam the halls of Congress doing the bidding of their corporate masters. If there has ever been a time in the modern history of our country where ordinary people at the grassroots level have got to stand up and fight back, now is that time. Now is the time to reclaim our democracy. Now is the time to demand that we have an economy that works for all of us and not just the billionaire class. Now is the time for each and every one of us, as proud Americans, to get involved in the political process in any and every way that we can. Because here is the simple truth. The vast majority of the American people, Democrats, Republicans, and Independents, do not want to see us maintain a corrupt campaign finance system which allows billionaires to buy elections. The vast majority of Americans, Democrats, Republicans, and Independents, do not want to see Congress give tax breaks to billionaires and cut programs that low-income and working families need. The vast majority of Americans, Democrats, Republicans, and Independents, do not want to see a handful of billionaires running our government. The vast majority of Americans, Democrats, Republicans, and Independents, do not want to see us lose our democracy and move toward authoritarianism. The truth is, we can stop all of that. We can create a government that works for all of us and not just the few. But as evidenced today, it ain't going to happen here in Washington. It's going to happen out in your community, and in your community, and in your community. We are the majority. They are the 1%. The vast majority of the people are with us. They have the billionaires. Let us go forward together. Let us create the kind of nation you and I know that we can become. Thank you very much.
Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you are still doing great wherever you're watching from. Now, the guy you just saw earlier, that was supposed to be Rod Taylor. He is an Australian actor, and I think you might have seen him from his works, probably The Time Machine or The Birds. But here's the weird part. There's actually no record of him talking about modern day slavery, so I don't even know how this video ended up in front of me. But what he said got me thinking. Let's talk about the idea that slavery didn't end, it just evolved. Back then, people were physically owned. Now, people are trapped in economic systems, low wages, high costs of living, crippling debts, and all these designed to keep the masses working, but never really getting ahead. You see, in the past, slave owners gave just enough to survive while extracting minimum labor. Today, it still exists, just dressed up as capitalism. We work, we hustle, but it's like the goalpost keeps moving. Wherever we are about to score a goal, the goalpost just shifts or moves to a different location. Wanna go to school? Take a loan. Need a home? Mortgage it. Trying to live? Swipe that credit card, no worries. And guess what? The rich, the ones who own the system, just sit back and collect interest. That guy called Rod, or whoever his name was, also broke down how banks play a huge role in all these. Inflation, interest rates, and debt expansion. It's all a strategy that ensures wealth flows upwards. The poor get stuck in repayment cycles while the rich profit off their struggle. And look, this isn't just about class. Race is a big part of these too. Black communities have always been hit the hardest when it comes to all these struggles because of the legacy of slavery and systemic racism. Take the prison system, for example. It's basically modern day slavery. Actually, it's just another way to extract labor from the public, but legally. I think you need to look at it with a critical eye for you to see that. Meanwhile, media and education, they're not helping. The news distracts, social media divides instead of what it's supposed to be doing, which is to be bringing people together. And what about schools? They train you to obey, not to question. You are taught how to be a good employee, not how to build wealth. You're taught how to be a good employee, not how to challenge the system. And there is no way that you will win without challenging the system. That I can tell you for a fact. So yes, the system is smart, but guess what? We are smarter and will definitely beat the system, whatever come may. This is not about blame, it's about awareness, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. If this video opened your eyes or opened your mind even just a little, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Like the video, drop a comment. I'd like to hear your thoughts. And to everyone already supporting me, thank you so much for the love that's coming my way. Anyway, this has been your host Kachina, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, peace, love, and harmony.